Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. My name is Solomon Mathew, and today I will be discussing identifying attrition for an employee based on a specific set of features or attributes. What is attrition? Well, attrition is the process of an employee leaving their company or turning over, and why is this problematic for Frito-Lay? Typically, companies invest a lot of resources when selecting new employees or recruiting them, so making the employees sticky or stay within the company is of great benefit. So we'll be looking at the data set given to us by Frito-Lay to identify the top three factors that might lead to attrition, as well as creating and training and testing a model on the features in the data set such that at any given point with any set of random features of an employee, the model should be able to accurately identify attrition. So first we'll take a look at the data set to understand it. So there are 870 rows and 36 columns, and there are no missing values, but there are a few interesting columns. These columns are ID, employee number, over 18 standard hours, and employee count. ID and employee number are particularly interesting because they contain zero duplicate values, meaning that for every single row, they contain a different value, and I believe these are unique identifiers for the subject within the data set. And for the next three columns listed below, these each contain the same value for every single row. There are no duplicates. So for data preparation, what I did was I first dropped those interesting columns because they provided information that was of no value um, to predicting attrition. Then what I did was I converted the categorical variables to factors because I was going to pursue the naive Bayes model. So there was no need for any type of encoding, such as label or one hot for a KNN. Then what I did was for the exploration data, explanatory data analysis, I first built a correlation matrix. And I found that monthly income and job level had a high positive correlation of 0.95. And I decided to drop job level. And why was that? Because I thought job level contained redundant information. But when I tested the model with and without job level, the model tested it with higher accuracy, sensitivity, specificity with the job level included. But what were the three factors that the correlation matrix identified with the attrition? And I found it to be overtime, marital status, and job involvement. So moving on to the graphical EDA, first I investigated plotting attrition versus overtime, and I found that for those who do not work overtime, 90% don't turn over. 90% of those employees don't turn over, whereas 32% of those who do work overtime do end up turning over. Then I looked at marital status versus attrition, and I found that for single people, 26% of employees do lead to attrition, whereas 14% of married employees turn over, and only 6% of divorced people turn over. So single people are more likely to turn over. Then I plotted job involvement and attrition to look at that relationship, and I found that there's a correlation between less job involvement and higher attrition rate, whereas 46% of those with low job involvement ended up turning over, right? So moving on to more graphical EDA, I noticed that monthly income had a very high values, right? And when plotting it, I saw that it had a very, very heavy right skew. So I decided maybe it could be of some benefit to log transform, and I explored that in the modeling. So I decided to pursue, as I mentioned earlier, the naive Bayes classifier, and I did it for over 500 iterations. So first, I decided to drop all the unnecessary attributes which I had mentioned in the previous slide, and I got an accuracy of 81.9, sensitivity of 86.5, specificity of 58.2, and a mean F1 of 88.9 because these were calculated over 500 iterations. And that is a look at the confusion matrix of the top of the sort of list that I created for the five to store the 500 iterations. And then I decided to build a model, but this time I decided to log transform the monthly income due to its heavy right skew. In doing so, the accuracy ended up improving and the mean sensitivity and specificity, uh, and F1 score to improve as well. But I was still not getting the 60% specificity that I was looking for, and I thought it was probably due to the threshold. Why? Because in the data set, there are more no's than there are yeses, right? So the data or the model has more information for no's over yes, so it will more better predict no's over yes. So by adjusting that threshold, what I found was although mean accuracy and sensitivity and FN score decreased, the specificity increased, right? And this is what we were really looking for. And obviously, there could be some overfitting, but the validation set will tell the story. So, what's the big takeaways here, right? The employees are the absolute vital organs to any company, as the company cannot operate without them. This is why Frito Lay is investing resources into identifying highly correlated features that lead to employee attrition, right? Because in a way, you're trying to protect your investments. And when investing resources into recruiting and paying employees, an opportunity cost is incurred where the money could or may have been utilized instead. Thus, the model with its high accuracy, sensitivity, and specificity can be utilized to, um, better target and identify, right, sort of areas where um, attrition is highly correlated with. So when looking at the validation set, we see about 44 out of 300 employees did end up leaving in that validation set. So thank you for listening to my presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to my SMU email or my personal email. And once again, thank you for listening and have a great day.